Today was one of those games where if we don't win that, that basically ends the title race. I think if we don't end that game, this Spurs game, first of all, not only do we give energy to all our rivals, in terms of losing to Spurs, that's shambolic, especially away from home this season, but just in general this season, losing would be not the best. But you also basically give the title race to City. City already, have I guess the advantage because you think about it, they had the game at the Etihad and there's only a 2 point difference. Assuming they win that game, they go top, right? So already, obviously, not assuming they win their game in hand, but you've already kind of given them maybe the edge. Maybe it's kind of in their hands. They win all their games, they win this league. But if you went and drew today when they won yesterday, no way. That would be atrocious for what we need to do this season, right? I think we have to match them slash better their results every weekend or just across the next 10 weekends for us, 11 games for them. So it was a must win. But for me, it was a win by any means necessary. But the better we do it, the more confidence you bring into the team. And I think the way we played was definitely a big green light in terms of learning from our prior mistakes that made us drop points and also made us kind of stale this season. Different team selection, etc., which we'll get into, right? So first of all, you start off with the lineup. You kind of take Saka out the 10, put him on the right, take Martinelli out, put Trossard in, and you put Eze in the 10. Just off of that lineup alone, I was happier because the front three, there's not all three runners. There's actual balance. You have one runner and then you have the two, ball to feet players. But you also have Eze starting, which, as we know, this guy loves to score against Spurs. But also on top of that, I think this guy brings magic that no one else in our or not many other players in our team can, and so we need him starting as soon as possible for this run, and we need him to gain form because he's going to be key for us. If we win this title, it will definitely be because he did something. He had a part to play in it. But the lineup, I was happy. Obviously, I wanted to see maybe Calafiori for Hincapié. Maybe you rest Timber, but to be fair, it is a derby. Maybe you take Zubimendi out the lineup because of tiredness, but at the same time, it is a big derby. So I wasn't too mad at everything else. I think everything else was fair. Especially Hincapié's performance, I think he deserved to start. To be fair, now I'm looking back at it, in terms of against Wolves, he played really well, so it's only fair. But yeah, but I think the biggest change or the biggest green light for me, obviously, first half I was still irritated, right? First half, good goal from Eze, but they kind of pinch us back. I mean, they pinch the ball from Rice, which is unusual. Rice doesn't really make mistakes, so you let it go because it happens. They scored Colomoni's first goal in the Premier League this season, which is crazy. I think it's 19 or 20 games played. But yeah, I come out of that first half and I'm a little irritated, honestly, because we played amazing. I thought that was definitely our best game in a while in terms of chance creation, in terms of fluidity, in terms of how we looked, in terms of how we just looked to progress the ball. What we looked to do when we were on the ball, which is clearly go forward, which is clearly try to emphasize these transitions and use it against them. Right? It reminded me a lot of 23-24. And it was definitely, and also earlier in this season, and it was definitely our best game in a long time. But I was irritated because we didn't kill them, right? We didn't kill them. It was 1-1. I didn't think they would be as sloppy in the second half. And I thought to myself, just like, we saw against Palace in the Carabao Cup, which we got lucky to go through. We saw against Wolves, etc., etc. There's been many games this season where we've dropped points this season where we've been the much better team in the first half. We don't kill them, and then they come back. Even if we end up winning the game, they can come back and make the game much more closely contested than it needs to be. Um, so I was upset about that. But second half, wow, we played amazing. As a good, I mean, Gyökeres starts it off with an amazing goal. Good ball into him from Timber, takes it, receives it, turns, shoots, good goal, right? And he releases it pretty quickly too. And we saw that this game he was threatening. His second goal as well, similar, right? More touches that time, but still similar releases. Right, and that's what you need to do to get off shots. Obviously, Spurs don't have the best defense right now. They don't have the best center backs. You're playing as Dragusin mostly, so I don't want to give him, the most credit, but I don't want to overhype his performance. But he was really good today, and it's because he was releasing his shots quicker. It felt like he was taking a little bit less time to shoot, which is good. That's what we need. Um, and so he needs to get off shots in this league. As a second goal, amazing as well. Saka threat all game. Gyökeres a threat all game, as a threat all game. It was good. That's what we wanted to see. But I think in terms of tactically, what I thought was the most interesting, the most impressive, the most critical to why we played so well was the central progression. And I want to see when we play against Chelsea if we keep it the same or if that was just because Spurs. Because I know Spurs obviously they have most of their center backs missing. Their weaknesses actually come through the middle because they're midfielders. They have a lot of significant midfielders missing. They don't have really that much central threat. Um, like their wingers are actually or the fullbacks is like where you would say that's closer to starting level. I felt in the midfield they're weak, so I thought it kind of made I guess it kind of like I could see why you would play centrally just against the Spurs team, especially with the way they were playing with the three, and leaving gaps in between their blocks. I thought it made sense why we were progressing centrally so much. So I want to see if that's a tactical change that Arteta made, or if that's just a this game thing only. Because the central progression was amazing this game. You saw it so many times where he played intricate balls to Zubamendi, intricate balls to Saka when he would drop in, Eze would drop in, Trossard would drop in, Rice, etc., etc. Gyökeres sometimes, but not as much. Usually we'd play him through the channels. And I thought there was so much more intricate link-up play that reminded me of 23, 24. Reminded me of earlier in the season where we're linking up one touch, quick pass, and then we move, right? And obviously there were times in the game where we were a little bit sloppy, and there were times in the game where Mascara mishits a pass, or Gabriel was a little bit sloppy, and I think he was dodgy today in general. But generally, the progression centrally was definitely key to us dominating this game for Eze's goals, Gyökeres' goals. That's why Gyökeres got so many chances. That's why you saw Eze so instrumental and so influential in the game today, because of the fact that we're progressing centrally. And I thought that was a big thing, and I hope we keep that going, or we try as much as possible to unlock that central progression, because we know that technically we're up there with the best. Physically, we're up there with the best. Defensively, we're up there with the best. So why not use that central progression? If it doesn't come off, okay, fair, but we have a good defense anyway, and we're also physically amazing to the point where we can recover. Right, and sometimes things happen like the Kolomwani thing, but generally we're amazing coming back. Rice, you see all that. Zubimendi, you saw that. Even Saka and stuff, which is why they kind of felt like they got gassed out in the second half. But I hope we keep that central progression, because that was key for us winning this game. Another thing that I saw that I really liked was I saw Eze and Trossard swap a lot, and I think this is what Arteta's probably wanted for Eze for a long time, because I never thought that Eze was a sharp shooter in the middle. He should not just be what he was before, where he was just playing as a second striker. And he should also not be dropping so deep. Can he do that? Yes. And in different games, um, against in different situations, in different contexts, yeah, he can do those different things. But I thought generally he should be playing off the left, get more touches, get more involved. And you saw that actually Trossard sometimes would swap in the middle and pick up the ball in the middle, and Eze would be on the left, or Eze would be more advanced on the left channel a little bit more, or Gyökeres would move to the left channel, and Eze would go more to like the nine-ish position. I think that fluidity was key, another key thing to our performance today, and I think that's something else that we need to keep up for sure, because we do that, and I think you're unlocking Eze, and you're also unlocking Gyökeres, because Eze is the type of player that can find those passes to Saka, to Trossard, to Gyökeres. So allowing a channel runner to have someone that can play those balls behind him because of the central progression will help him inevitably, and I think that's another reason why he was so good today. Um, Hincapie is another person I want to shout out. Hincapie was amazing. He's been amazing for the past last game and now this game as well. He's been picking up his form. I always thought that Calafiori comes back and he'll just slot back in, but now I'm kind of more so in the opinion that Calafiori has to earn his place back because Hincapie has been very very good, and I think since Calafiori is a little bit more dodgy when it comes to injuries, mix and match, rotate game on game because I think that will work better. Um, and I think the last thing I wanted to shout out was Arteta. Like I said, with the central progression, with the swapping of Eze and Trossard, which is definitely instruction based. But also with the Timber substitution, right? You see, it's I think it's 3-1 now, or even if no, it was 2-1 at the time. But yeah, it was 2-1 at the time. But you can see it. You've seen in the past few games Timber looking leggy, and instead of waiting and waiting and waiting, you make that sub quick. 60 minutes comes, you can tell Timber's starting to get a little bit leggy, and boom, you sub him off, sub on Mosquera. And Mosquera was good today. He had one misplaced pass, maybe two, but very good defensively. Maybe not as good on the ball, but that's fine. He'll develop that. But very, very good today from Arteta to make those changes. And then also afterwards, I saw Eze get tired. I saw Trossard be less impactful. And then boom, you sub those two off as well. You sub on another runner, Martinelli, because now it's like a transition game. Keep Gyökeres on because this is kind of his game state, which is why he scored at the end. And you sub on Odegaard to be more defensively salute with that pressing and that type of stuff. And also just to give another threat, and to sub off Eze because you could see he was getting leggy. He wasn't pressing as much. He wasn't as competitive in the duels in maybe that last 15-ish minutes, maybe from the 60th to like the 75th. I know he scored during then, but you could see it in the duels and the pressing. He was starting to slack. He was starting to wear off a little bit. So good substitutions and keep using the squad. I wish we subbed on Norgard for Rice or Zubamendi at some point. Preferably Zubamendi. I think Rice was needed, and Rice was really good. He had maybe two errors in the game. One almost led to a goal, and one led to the goal. But besides that, amazing ball recoveries, etc., etc. Just his consistent stuff. We need to keep that up, and I think now we look at next game, Chelsea. Hopefully Saka's fit. Hopefully Saka's okay. They're missing Fofana, and this is another game where I understand that their midfield is strong, so maybe you don't want to go as focused in central progression. But I think that is a key way where we can hurt teams. So look to utilize it. But overall, great performance, and we played much better. Keep it up because we have to. Because we have 10 more cup finals, one more literal cup final, 10 more cup finals in the Prem, one more literal cup final on March 22nd against City, and we have the Champions League and the FA Cup. And to stay consistent all these games, we need to kill games early and then make subs like we did today. Keep it up.